You seriously think someone like you has $1.5 million just sitting in an account here? Sir, prove it or step aside. The voice, it was sharp, cutting right across the polished marble floor of the Zenith Financial lobby, and loud enough to make every single person turn and stare. I was standing there in a white t-shirt, faded jeans, and some simple work boots. Just standing, holding my ID and my premium black card in one hand, completely silent, completely still. My shoulders didn't move. My jaw wasn't clenched. But inside, oh man, something was shifting. Something was breaking. Because in exactly 9 minutes and 16 seconds, every single employee in that downtown Chicago branch was going to be unemployed. And they had absolutely no clue that the man they were humiliating, the man they thought was some kind of street-level hustler, was actually their boss. Donovan Hayes, the CEO of the entire damn company now. Before we get into the full story, I just gotta know, where are you watching this from? Drop your city in the comments. I love seeing how far these stories travel. And hey, if this narrative hits you even a little bit, please smash that like button and subscribe, because this is a story about more than just a bank account. It's about power, prejudice, and what happens when they finally collide. So, let's head inside the Zenith Financial Glass Tower branch. It was a quiet Tuesday morning, 11 a.m. The kind of day where bias, arrogance, and billion-dollar power were about to have a serious, awkward conversation. The man standing at the counter was me, Donovan Hayes, 45 years old. Yeah, I'm the CEO of Zenith Financial Group, worth billions, but you wouldn't have known it by looking at me. No bespoke suit, no Italian shoes, no security detail, no assistant hovering nearby, just a man dressed like anybody else you'd pass on the Magnificent Mile. See? My office had been flooded for weeks with these anonymous tips Reddit threads. Ex-posts all, detailing the same disturbing pattern. Minority customers being mistreated, grilled, sometimes even accused of fraud right here, in this very branch. I don't do corporate investigations from 30,000 feet. I believe in seeing the truth, smelling the rot with my own eyes. And now, the truth was staring back at me, dripping with contempt. I'm here to make a withdrawal, I said, sliding my card across the glass. Just a smooth, calm statement. $1.5 million wire transfer. The room went quiet. The branch manager, Victoria Stern, 50-something, stiff blonde bob, she didn't even touch the card. She just arched one perfectly sculpted eyebrow, scanned me up and down like I was dirt on her shoe, and then she repeated it. 1.5 million? In that outfit? Her tone wasn't curious. It was clinical pure cruelty. I didn't even blink. I just nodded. Yes, for my Zenith account. That's when Chad, the slick 30-year-old teller, chimed in over the intercom, loud enough for the whole lobby. Sir, we'll need to re-verify your identity. Seriously. Check the ID again. We've had, people dressed like that, trying to pull fast ones before. A bubble of nervous laughter popped near the potted plants. A slow, hot flame started building inside me. My voice didn't rise. My heart didn't race. But that familiar fire was back. My ID is valid, I told them. So is my account. Chad didn't bother to glance at the screen. You'll need to provide verifiable proof of funds, he said, smug as hell. And maybe change your story. Victoria crossed her arms, endorsing him with a nod. Then it got worse. Teller Tiffany, 28, leaned over, snatched my card, and without checking a thing, she slid it into her drawer and locked it with a sharp, ugly click. This card looks suspicious, she announced to the room. Honestly, you probably stole it from somebody. You need to leave now. That statement landed like a slap. Not just on me, but on the whole lobby. A woman gasped. A guy near the security desk muttered, Did she actually just say that? From the side of the room, a phone lifted. A young white woman, Amelia, a marketing consultant and regular client, had heard enough. She tapped record. This is racism at Zenith Bank, she said, loud and clear. And it's going online right now. She uploaded the clip instantly, no hashtags, just the words. A journalist named Ethan, standing right behind her, pulled out his own phone. Get his name, Amelia told him. We're documenting everything. Meanwhile, a young teller named Naomi, 25, was frozen in shock behind the counter. She'd worked under Victoria's iron fist for 2 years. But this was different. "He has every right to be here," Naomi whispered. Victoria shot her a glare that could melt steel. "You're not paid to argue, Naomi." Naomi stepped forward anyway. "I'm paid to follow policy, and you're breaking it." Tiffany sneered at Naomi. "You don't know who this guy is? He's running a scam." I looked slowly at Tiffany, then at Victoria, then back at the drawer where my card was trapped. "You're ruining Zenith," I said quietly. "This isn't about me. It's about you." See that quiet moment? It took me back 20 years. I was 25, fresh out of business school, walking into a small local bank, hoping to withdraw a down payment for my first investment property. I wore jeans then too. I had an honest smile. But the teller didn't see potential. They saw a young black man dressed like a thug. They told me the funds were under investigation. I had to return with a suit and a lawyer before they took me seriously. That seed of fire, it never left me. It fueled me to build Zenith, a place where that moment would never happen to anyone else. And here I was, standing in my own bank, facing the exact same rot I thought I'd cut out years ago, back in the lobby. Victoria pressed a silent button under her desk. Possible fraud. Escalate. She turned to Chad. "Call it in if he doesn't leave." Chad's voice boomed again. "Final warning, sir. Leave now, or we escalate to law enforcement." I pulled out my phone, not to record, but to dial. "Leo," I said when my chief of staff answered, "activate the internal system. Everything."
Oh.
On the other end, Leo's voice was clear. "It's live, Don. We're monitoring audio and video." "Say the word." "Not yet," I whispered. Naomi stepped forward again, physically blocking Tiffany from the drawer. "You locked his card without justification," she cried. "You could lose your job for this." Victoria snapped. "Enough, Naomi. You're embarrassing yourself." Ethan caught that on video too. "She's protecting the customer," he streamed. "And you're violating your own code of conduct. Is this how you treat all black men in jeans?" A customer shouted. Victoria didn't hesitate. "We treat suspicious behavior the same, no matter the color." My fingers slowly curled into a fist. "You'll regret this, Victoria," I said, my voice steady, even. "All of you will." Then came the first twist. Ethan leaned over and read the name on the card right before Tiffany slammed the drawer shut. He spoke it loud enough for the room to hear. "Donovan Tate." Sharp intake of breath. "Wait," someone whispered. "Donovan Tate? The Donovan Tate?" Asterisk. I stood a little taller, but I didn't confirm anything. The tension had shifted. It was no longer on me. It was turning slowly, toward them. Victoria's eyes flickered, just for a second, a hint of doubt, a flicker of recognition. But she covered it quickly. "Lock the drawer," she hissed at Tiffany. "Don't let anyone near that card again. This card's suspicious, and so is he." Tiffany snapped. "Leave now, sir." The "sir" was pure sarcasm. Chad didn't hesitate this time. He stepped around the counter, gripping my elbow tightly. "Let's not make this harder than it has to be," he ground out. "Time to go. He's a client." A man shouted. "You can't put hands on him." "You don't belong here," Tiffany muttered under her breath, just loud enough for me to hear. That was the line. That was the spark. "Let go of me," I said. It wasn't a shout. It was a roar, trapped in a whisper. Just then, Naomi shoved her way between Chad and me. "You can't touch him," she cried, her voice cracking. "His account is valid. You haven't even looked at the screen." Victoria, desperate, shrieked. "He's a fraud. You'll find out soon enough." Then, an explosion from the crowd. "This is injustice," Ethan yelled into his live stream. "They're physically removing a customer with no evidence. This is racism on full display at Zenith Bank. Share this. Save this." I didn't resist, but I didn't move. "I came to withdraw my money," I stated. "You've accused me of theft, taken my card, and put hands on me. This will not go unanswered." "Protocol," Victoria scoffed. "No," Naomi snapped, the fear leaving her voice. "Abuse of power. I've seen you do this before, Victoria." She turned to the crowd. Last year, a black business owner came in for a loan. Victoria made him wait an hour, then denied him without checking his file. She buries these complaints. They think they're untouchable, I said, addressing the crowd, not Victoria. They believe appearance equals legitimacy. They've mistaken arrogance for authority. Just then, Leo's voice came through my phone again, quiet and steady. Internal system is live. We have the audio. Full authorization, done. Turned my card. I commanded Tiffany, my eyes hard now. You've crossed every line. She shook her head, terrified but stubborn. We're not done here. Not for long, I smiled faintly. Then came the bigger twist. Naomi pulled up her side screen. I looked him up, she said, loud and clear. His account is real. It's massive. He's not just a client. He's a top-tier executive account holder. The silence was deafening. Victoria's mouth dropped. Chad stared at the floor. Tiffany went pale. You're going to regret this, I said to Victoria. Not because of who I am, but because of who you've chosen to be. Chad lunged one last time, shoving me hard against the glass doors. He's a fraud. Tiffany shrieked over the intercom. This man is impersonating a client. Naomi ran forward, shielding me. Stop it. He's your CEO. The room erupted. He's the CEO. You tried to assault your own CEO. I didn't yell. I didn't lash out. I simply stepped away from the door and walked toward Victoria. You pushed me once, I said softly, then twice. You had every chance to de-escalate. Instead, you doubled down. You weaponized race. And now, you're going to face the consequences. Victoria looked like a ghost. You're bluffing. You wouldn't come in here dressed like that? Well, I didn't pretend, I replied. I came as a customer. I came because I wanted to believe this branch had changed, but it hasn't. I raised my phone. Leo, I instructed. Begin processing staff terminations for Zenith Chicago Glass Tower branch. Victoria Stern, Chad Peterson, Tiffany Ruiz, effective immediately.
Oh.
Leo's voice echoed back, cool and exact. Confirmed. Processing now. Digital access revoked. HR notified. Victoria lurched forward, but her monitor blinked black. Her access was revoked in real time. This is illegal. You didn't give notice? You conducted the trial when you humiliated me over a speaker, I said, turning away from her. You executed the sentence when you tried to physically eject me from a bank I own. You just didn't know I was watching. Tiffany unlocked the drawer with shaking fingers and placed my card on the counter. She didn't apologize. She didn't speak. Her silence was a heavy, ugly thing. My eyes moved to Naomi, who was now weeping, not from sadness, but from pure vindication. Naomi Brooks, I said, loud enough for the whole room. You are being promoted effective immediately. Your courage, your humanity, didn't go unnoticed. You're the kind of leader this bank needs. Then, the final, crushing blow. Chad took a hesitant step forward, eyes cast down. Mr. Hayes, he mumbled. I need to say something. On the record, I nodded. Speak. Victoria instructed us to delay service for certain customers, he admitted, his voice barely a whisper. She had a playbook. She called it selective screening. She'd say if they don't dress right, they don't bank right, and we... ... We shredded the written complaints. Customers gasped again. You destroyed formal complaints of discrimination? That's always the excuse, isn't it? I asked the room, my voice rising in gravity. We didn't know that I was wealthy, that I was the CEO, that I had the right to be here. But the truth is, you didn't care. What you thought you saw was a man who didn't belong. Looked at Victoria, whose face was pure ash. I'd rather lose staff than lose our soul. I made one final call. Leo, notify compliance. We're restructuring from the inside. We're launching the Diversity Access Index. Every Zenith branch will be scored not by profit, but by trust. If there's a pattern of suppression, we'll find it and cut it out. I walked to the counter, picked up my card, and put it in my wallet. I didn't demand service. My presence had already transformed the space. 3 days later, the video had 10 million views. I didn't do any interviews. I went back to work quietly, strategically. Over the next 2 weeks, 5 more Zenith branches entered internal review. 24 employees were removed. Naomi Brooks became the face of our newly formed Equity Integrity team and the Glass Tower branch. It didn't close. It transformed. New faces, new leadership. And at its center, under soft lighting, a plaque was placed. It read, "This branch changed not because it had to, but because one man reminded us all that silence has a cost." I'll ask you just one question. For reflection, have you ever been treated like you didn't belong, Lee, to later realize you were the one holding the keys? If so, this story was for you. And if not, remember this. True leadership isn't about power. It's about presence. Donovan Hayes didn't lead by raising his voice. He led by refusing to lower his standards. So the next time someone underestimates you, at them, and then show them who's really signing the paycheck. Let me know in the comments, what would you have done in that lobby? Did Chad deserve to be fired, even after confessing? Let the world know your take.